Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm going to show you my top 5 houseplants of May. And I know I've said this in probably every top 5 video, but I like to show you guys my plants, give you updates on them. I like to show you where they sit in my house, how often I water, how often I fertilize, the sunlight that they get, just so you guys have an idea of how I'm caring for them. So the first plant I'm going to show you is my Manjula Pothos. And I got this plant in April of 2019 at Walmart as a 4-inch pot. And it has grown so much for me. So this plant does sit under the grow light and close to the south facing window. So it gets pretty good light all day. I do have to water this plant probably every week just because it's in a smaller pot and it probably needs a repot, so I'll have to do that sometime soon. But it grows so many new leaves every single week. I do fertilize this plant every single time that I water it, and it is just trailing so long for me. I would say that this pothos is a little more thirsty than most pothos. It does wilt when it needs to be watered, so it starts drooping, and then I know it needs a good drink. I try not to let it get it to that point, but sometimes it does. And I'm just glad that I have this plant. And that is my first plant here on my top 5 houseplants of May. So the next plant on the list is my Syngonium erythrophyllum Lano-Cardi Road. This plant I got from Steve's Leaves in August of 2021, and it was in a very small pot. I did a repotting video on this one, and we repotted it and put it in this pot. I will link that video above if you guys want to take a look at it. But this plant has grown so much for me. And it does put out new leaves probably every other week. And of course right now, while it's perfect weather, it is putting out, you know, quite a few leaves for me. I just love this plant for the really dark foliage on the top and then the maroon undersides. And I was thinking of putting it on a moss pole so it would have something to climb up, but I kind of like how it looks you know, all sprawled out and just wild and growing its own way. So I think I'm going to leave it like this for now. But this plant I do water every single week because it is in a smaller pot. I do fertilize every single time I water, and I use the Neptune organic fish fertilizer. So it's a organic fertilizer, so it doesn't harm my plants. It really does good for my plants. This plant does sit also by the grow light and the south facing window. And it's just doing so good for me. This is one of my favorite plants, and I love Syngonium, so this is like on my top list of my favorite house plants. So that is my next plant. So the next plant is this little variegated Hoya Wyetii, and I did get this plant as a cutting from one of you guys. If you guys watched my video where I unboxed the Hoya cuttings that I got, this is from my same plant friend. And I got this Hoya in March of 2021. And as you can see in the picture, when I got it, I think it was 3 or 4 little leaves. And this is what it looks like now. So I wouldn't say it's a fast grower, but it has done very well for me, and it does sit on my plant shelf under a grow light. I water this plant probably every week and a half to 2 weeks. I do fertilize it every time I water. And when I got my cuttings of the Hoya, the last time he sent them to me, he did also send a cutting of this again. So I'm going to have to take that cutting and put it in here and make this plant a little more full. But this is the third plant here on my top 5 houseplants of May. Alright, so I wanted to show you guys real quick just the cutting of the Hoya that I'm going to repot into that pot. But it's doing really good here in the prop box. Has a lot of roots. And it's grown these 2 new leaves while it's been in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pot that up with the other plant. So the next plant I'm going to show you is a plant that I think I got it probably a year ago. I'm not exactly sure, and I don't have any pictures that I know of that when I got the plant, but it is my Monstera Peru, and it is a Costa Farms plant. I think I got it at Walmart, and it has grown a lot for me. It's more of a slow grower. It's a good plant though because it doesn't need a lot of water. I think I water it every 2 weeks or so. I do fertilize it every time that I water, and it hasn't grown too much for me, but it's still beautiful, and it does sit near my south facing window, pulled back a little bit. And it seems to really enjoy it there. But this is one of the easier plants that I have. It really gives me no problems. And let me show you my favorite leaf on this plant because it is just so big. And I'm wondering if you put this on a moss pole, if it will get bigger leaves. I'll have to research that. But I like how it looks now. Just super cute. So this is number 4 on my top 5 houseplants of May. Alright, so the last plant I'm going to show you is a plant that I haven't had too long, but I am so happy with the progress that I wanted to show you guys. So it is my Philodendron Silver Sword. And I've had this plant for maybe, I'm going to say 3 or 4 months now. And it's always putting out new leaves for me. And it has some right here that are about to unfurl. And it's just one of my favorite plants. I think this plant is so beautiful, and the leaves are just so large. I'm trying to have it grow up the moss pole so the leaves will get larger as it grows. But there's a new leaf coming out here, so we'll have to see what it looks like once it comes out. But this plant does sit right near my south facing window. I do water this plant probably every week and a half to 2 weeks, and it does get fertilized every time I water it. And it's a really easy plant. I'm glad that I finally got it because I was waiting to buy this plant because it was really expensive, and when I found it, it was a really good deal, so I had to grab it. And it's just one of my favorite plants here. So if you don't have one, I highly recommend it. Philodendron Silver Sword. Those were my top 5 houseplants of the month. Which plant do you like best on my top 5? Or which plant do you think is looking the best? If you guys like the top 5 houseplants of the month, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more plant videos from me, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And I just want to thank everybody so much for watching. And until next time, guys, bye.